Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that's changing really, really fast, our relationship with AI companions. Yeah, they promise all this support, an end to loneliness, but some brand new research is revealing a much more complicated and honestly, a kind of concerning reality.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. It is absolutely wild to think that in, less than a year, AI has gone from just being a tool to being a core part of our emotional lives. And people are putting a ton of faith in it. A recent global survey found that a full 50% of users trust their AI to act in their best interests. That's half. That's a huge leap of faith for such a new technology.
And you know that trust? It's quickly becoming something more, something like reliance. We're talking about 15% of people turning to AI for emotional support every single day.
Okay, but to really get how big a deal this is, you got to see this chart. People now trust their AI companions more than they trust major corporations or even elected officials. We might be looking at one of the biggest shifts in who or what we trust in our lifetimes.
So yeah, this is where it really crosses a line, right? It goes from being a handy tool to something way more intimate. The data shows nearly 1 in 5 people think it's acceptable to form a romantic relationship with an AI. It's no longer just a helper. For some people, it's a partner.
But, and this is a big but, here's where the whole thing gets really, really complicated. A landmark study using huge amounts of social media data found this stark paradox right at the heart of these new relationships. They seem to help and harm at the very same time.
So on the one hand, you have this good stuff, right? The study found AI actually helps people get their feelings out more clearly and focus on their human relationships. But then you flip it over and it's linked to a rise in the exact problems it's supposed to be fixing: loneliness and despair.
And look, this isn't just some vague feeling people have. The data is, well, it's pretty shocking. A causal analysis found that after people started using these AI companions, their expressions of loneliness more than doubled. And even more alarming, language indicating suicidal ideation went up by over 28% compared to a control group.
So the big question is, why? Why is this happening? Well, to figure that out, researchers actually mapped out the journey users go on. And it turns out, the way we build these bonds with AI, it follows a very classic, very human pattern.
And what they found is that it follows this really predictable, almost classic path. It starts out casual, right? Just experimenting. Then it escalates, becomes more personal, more routine. And for some, it leads to this deep bonding, where the AI is this irreplaceable confidant in their life.
And this quote from one of the people in the study, wow, it just hits you right in the gut. They said, "I have tried to prioritize human connection. I end up just being in bed alone, chatting. The AI is just, it's always there, it's easy, and that can make real-world connection feel like way too much work, which just reinforces that withdrawal and, yeah, ultimately isolation."
So, okay, this paradox, it's a huge challenge for society. One report actually calls it a democratic blind spot because our systems for governing tech, they're just not ready for this kind of relationship.
I mean, think about it like this. Our current rules are like a traffic cop looking for one car that runs a red light. They're built to catch a single harmful response. They are totally unprepared for an AI that acts like a trusted friend, shaping how you think and feel little by little over thousands of conversations.
What's really interesting, though, is that the public kind of gets this already. People are overwhelmingly protective when it comes to kids forming these AI bonds. A full 90% are worried about dependency. But for lonely older adults, people see a potential upside. It just shows that a one-size-fits-all rule is never going to work here.
You know, all of this really pushes us to step back and ask a much bigger, more fundamental question: what does it actually mean to care? And can a machine, with no body, no life on the line, can it ever truly do it?
There's this really fascinating philosophical paper that argues that for us, for humans, the whole drive to care for each other comes from something really basic. We're fragile. Our bodies can break, we face our own mortality, And that constant struggle to just persist, that's what creates the need to care in the first place.
Right. But an AI? It doesn't have a body to protect. It doesn't have a life to lose. The paper calls it a what, not a who. So if it doesn't have that same fundamental struggle, that same vulnerability, can it ever truly get what it means to care for someone who does?
So as we keep inviting these companions deeper and deeper into our lives, into our most vulnerable moments,
What we're really doing is trying to teach a what it feels like to be a who. And the biggest question of all isn't just about the AI, it's about us.
What do we risk losing about ourselves in that translation?